So yesterday we talked about the text organization and how a text is organized. And the day before that, we talked about the differences between narrative and expository. And when we were talking about the differences between narrative and expository, we were talking about how a narrative is summarized after you read it. And we talked about how, in the summary, you include stuff from the beginning, the middle, and the end, and a couple of details. When you do a summary for an expository piece, it's a little bit different, and you can actually do it beforehand. And so we're going to kind of go over a couple of tips and tricks to kind of help you. So when you're reading expository, you are reading it to learn something. And so the first thing you need to do is just look at the actual piece of writing and make a couple of observations. You want to look at the title of it. The title is going to end up being your topic. It can be a synonym for it, but it's going to be your topic. It's going to be what the entire piece is about. You want to skim and scan for the headings. Headings are going to be the main ideas, and they're going to end up usually being in a bigger print, most of the time bolded, and you'll notice that in what we're going to read in just a minute. You're going to notice any italicized or slanted words and bold-faced words when they're extra dark and they're bold. Like, for example, in the presentation, these are bolded words over here. So, words. Then you also need to notice the photos and the diagrams or charts. These are called text features. We put these in our notebook yesterday, and we're going to take a look at those in a little bit. A lot of times on the STAR test or other tests or quizzes or whatever, sometimes the information is not actually in the story itself. A lot of times it's in the captions under photos, or it's in a diagram that you need to look at, or it's in a chart. So you need to, don't leave these out when you're reading. They're important. The next thing that you need to do is to create a summarizing framework based on the title and the headings. So for example, my topic is going to be what my title was, or something a little bit smaller or a synonym for it. And then my three main ideas are going to be my headings. You may have more main ideas, but we're just working with three for today. After you create a summarizing framework, you're going to actually create an actual summary. So this summary is going to be a little bit different than a summary of a narrative piece. This is an example. So it's today we will read about, and then there's your topic, your heading. The author describes, and then your main idea, heading number 1, then goes on to explain heading number 2, the main idea number 2. And we'll also uncover, and then the third main idea, the third heading, okay? And we'll do that in just a second. You can use different verbs other than describes or explains or uncovers. And so we've given you a list of verbs that you could maybe use instead. After you've done all that, this is an example of what I just talked to you guys about. We're going to read a text, and I'm going to show you how to create, or we're actually not going to read it. We're just going to look at it. How to create a summarizing framework and a summary before you even start reading. It'll really help you kind of pay attention to what the expository piece is really trying to tell you. Okay. Let me find my story, and it is somewhere in here. I've lost it. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so here's the piece that we're going to look at first. We're going to look at the topic, and look at the title. It's the topic. So if I'm looking at my topic right here, my title, it's bears. So that's what I'm going to put in my summarizing framework, bears. That's what I'm going to read about. That's my topic, very specific. And then I need to skim and scan and look for headings. Those are going to be my main ideas. So these right here, these are headings: kinds of bears and where they live, common traits, and then there's a third one right here, bear behavior. So those are going to be my 3 main ideas. So I'm just going to shorten it. There's no reason to write kinds and where they live. Another word for where they live is habitat. Kinds and habitats. My second main idea was common traits. I don't need to say common traits. I can just say traits. And then my third one was bear behavior. Behavior. Okay? Then I can come down here to my summarizing framework and I can plug in all this information to create a paragraph-like summary. Today, we will read about, my topic was bears. We'll read about bears. Should be lowercase. The author describes, my main idea, kinds and habitats, kinds of bears, and habitats. Then goes on to explain, main idea number 2, traits. We'll also uncover, third main idea, behavior or behaviors. Okay? So that's my paragraph, guys. So then I haven't even read the piece yet. And so what you'll do now is you would go back, you would read the article, you'd read the expository piece, and you'd double check to make sure that in this paragraph, did they really talk about bears and where they live? Did they really talk about the different types of traits? Did they really talk about the bear's behavior right here? And if they did, well, then there you go. You have your summary. You know what you've just read. You can go back and explain it. Okay. So what you're going to do now is you're going to practice this on your own, and you're going to read Frightening Fun, kind of close to Halloween. So that'd be fun, ish. After reading, you're going to complete a summarizing framework, and then we'll share and discuss. Tomorrow, when you come in, you're going to read another expository piece called What is a Night? And you're going to be doing the same thing, but it'll be for a quiz grade. So make sure if you're not understanding anything today that you ask questions and seek clarification. Off you go.